What have we here?
'Tis not unlike a Hunnish alchemical furnace in design.
Well, there is one way we might find out.
Stop! You mustn't touch it.
Vritra! Oh, my apologies. Should I continue calling you Varshan?
You may address me as you wish. My nature is no longer a secret. Still, this is not a setting I imagined for our reunion. Surely you've not entered these ruins as common looters.
Would that we could deny your accusations, but I fear you're not far from the truth.
Great Vritra, might we beseech thee to explain the nature of this strange contrivance?
It was crafted by our alchemists at my behest, for the purpose of sealing something away.
You and I will speak later.
Not the time for frivolity, my friend. Not the time.
This something of which thou speakest, might it be some manner of threat?
Perhaps I should simply show you. In response, Emperor Zande forged a covenant with the Cloud of Darkness, sovereign among the all-devouring denizens of the Void. Thus bolstered by icons on one side and Void Scent on the other, the two armies clashed in a battle of unspeakable carnage. So much death, so much loss.
I consider myself well-versed in that period of history, yet you speak as one who witnessed it happen.
Indeed, I did. I heard Tiamat's roar of defiance and sped toward that war-torn land. Along with my sibling, Ajdaya. We dragons are not male or female as men are wont to classify, but elder sister is the closest a mortal tongue can come to describing what she meant to me. I was the last of our brood to hatch, and Ajdaya cared for me where my sire could not. Thus I was with her when Tiamat roared. I was with her when she journeyed south, and I was with her when she fought against the Void-sent hordes. Yet no matter how many of their vile fiends we cast down, more rose from the abyss to take their place. Faced with an unwinnable war of attrition, Ajdaya risked her all on a final gamble. She plunged through the Void Gate itself to strike at the root of their strength. I tried to follow in her wake, determined to lend what aid I could. But even as I came upon Alag's glittering tower, I saw the rift close behind her. And Ashdaya has been lost to us ever since.
I find I must retract my earlier claim of historical knowledge. Nowhere in the Crystal Tower's archives did I see mention of such noble sacrifice.
That does not surprise me. To Allagan eyes, it must have seemed as if a lone dragon, driven to madness, simply dove through the gate and did not return. For my part, I spent long years searching for the means to reunite with Ashdaya. And after decades of toil, it finally grew to a size that a child might pass through.
Not long ago, you told us that you called out to your kin, that Ashdaya's answer was silence. I suspect the conclusion to your tale is not a joyful one.
With hope in my heart, I used the simulacrum to cross the threshold. But no, I did not find her. What I found was a host of voidsent clamoring around the opening they had sensed. It was but a moment, but enough. I had no choice but to retreat and allow the portal to contract once more.
The gate was a threat to your people. You had to decide between endangering Razathan and abandoning your sister. And you chose the latter.
'Twas not that thy siblings scorned thy call. 'Twas that she was trapped beyond a barrier through which neither roar nor dragon may pass. Even now, in the desolate world of the 13th.
I can scarce imagine your pain, yet it was wise not to linger in that place. Too long a sojourn, and even a being of your power risks being warped into a creature of the void. You've seen this phenomenon before, when we stepped into the darkness. As did I. Were it not for Une and Doga, or Nero for that matter, we might never have made it home. Do you remember what happened to Nero? How his wounds allowed the void's corruption to enter his body and twist his ether? Had it been allowed to progress much longer, I presume he would have been fully transformed.
Then there is little hope for Ashdaya.
Ah, no. I hadn't meant to. I speak only of possibilities. The scales of the First Brood are extraordinarily resistant to ethereal fluctuations. They are the protective talisman's core components after all, and even the corruption I described would struggle to overcome.
Nebulous rift which exists between them. Picture, if you will, the moment you were called to the First. You touched a focus of some kind to help the Exarch pinpoint your location. His summoning spell then channeled the energies of the Crystal Tower to begin your journey to his world. The magics tore a hole in the wall separating source and shard, and cast you into the intervening nothingness. In that place, the laws of nature hold no sway. Yet even through this realm of temporal and spatial instability, you were borne safely to your destination in the First. The feat that guided you across such an unimaginable distance, both physical and metaphorical, was nothing short of a miracle.
Then what of the many Voidsent found in the Source? Who guides them here, and how?
An excellent question. Though there are several methods by which the Void's denizens might intrude upon our world, the rituals of summoning are the most typical. For example, let us consider the Gargoyle, a creature of middling power. To call upon such an entity, the prospective summoner must force open a void gate. The portal lasts but a moment and is relatively small, allowing only an imp or other lesser being to squeeze through with their physical body intact. Our more powerful gargoyle, however, is too large for that. Creating a gate big enough for him would require vast amounts of energy, far beyond the reserves of any one mortal practitioner. Once at its destination, the summoned soul is granted a temporary shell to inhabit. In the gargoyle's case, a stone effigy has proven a suitable vessel.
Wait. You said that Voidsent must be called here deliberately by someone in the Source, reeled in like a fisherman with his catch.
Exactly. For a being to navigate the chaos of the rift, with or without form, there must needs be a guiding agent on the other side.
When the hordes poured forth from Alag's Great Gate, it was the technologists who drew them through. Though to my knowledge, planar fissures are in essence natural passages between our world and the void, which require no such guidance to traverse. Why is only the boundary between the Source and the 13th so fragile? So much so that it often tears open of its own accord.
I believe solving that mystery is key to understanding travel between the Source and its reflections.
And how do you intend to get your answers?
No. The danger is too great.
Perhaps. But what some call danger, others think of as adventure.
Were you not listening to my tale? Never mind that the means to expand the gate has been lost to the ages. Even could you force the portal wide enough, you would be greeted by an army of murderous horrors the very instant you step through.
I assure you I was most attentive. And I agree that to go alone would be certain death. But if I were to bring along one who has already braved the 13th and humbled the cloud of darkness, well, I imagine my chances would be much improved. Word that we will take every precaution. Not a single Voidsent will be allowed to threaten Radzat-Han, assuming we manage to expand the portal in the first place.
You have a plan.
Actually, I had hoped you might help us with that. I presume the alchemists you retained supplied you with some explanation of their methodology.
That they did. House Daimir was overseeing the project.
Daimir. Ah, yes. The family associated with the great work.
I did not fully comprehend the theory, but their research began with a void scent which had slipped through the fissure. After a thorough examination, they created an arcane simulacrum possessed of similar qualities. A man-made void scent, if you will. It was apparently indispensable in their efforts to enlarge the gate.
A man-made void scent?
Yes. Being great admirers of the Archons, House Daimir submitted detailed notes to Charlene's official committee. They expected praise and accolades for their simulacrum, and were thus devastated to be informed that their work had been classified as prohibited material.
If that's true, then those notes might still be stored in a forbidden archive somewhere. Not Google, of course, since that library had yet to be built. Which leaves us with... Indeed. Numenon's restricted stacks may very well hold a copy. In which case, I say we head directly to Charlene.
Unless you anticipate needing help to reach the high shelves, I see myself being of little use. Go on ahead. I still need to find Mirad and tell him about the Kalzal Foundation.
Among the ranks of the Voidsent, there exist entities with the power to call forth their brethren from beyond. The species known as Atomos, however, is uniquely prodigious in this regard. From its distended maw, it can expel an endless procession of void-born creatures, a talent which sorely tested the Radiant Host in its battles against these abominations. Surmising that the entity itself was acting as a void gate, we endeavored to capture a small specimen and subsequently examine its physiological structure. Our findings reveal that the Atomos had absorbed a planar fissure into its own flesh, which it could expand at will into a functioning gate. Upon further analysis, we identified an ethereal wave pattern emitted during this process. A pattern we were able to emulate by passing crystal-stored ether through a specially designed prism. We proceeded to embed said prism into an arcane simulacrum, thus completing what we have dubbed our artificial Atomos. How could I have been so blind to the possibilities? This species, not to mention its ability to summon Voidsent, has been discussed among academics for years now. Just before the advent of the 7th Umbral Calamity, we received reports of Atomos sightings from every corner of Eorzea. Surely you've at least heard the tales. And still, House Daemir went and built a mock Atomus of their very own. I'm not surprised the Archons consigned their work to a restricted archive. It was no easy task, but at last we've unearthed the volume we've been searching for. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted to stay longer. See what other forbidden titles might be lurking on these shelves? Ah, but that would be abusing the very special privilege we've been granted now, wouldn't it? Better not.
What is it you're doing now?
There's something I wish to verify. The NOAA reports claim that a short stint into the void carries little risk of etheric imbalance. Should one suffer an injury, however, or if one's expedition drags on longer than intended, that risk... Graha theorized that a warding scale would confer protection from the void's corrupting influence. But I would prefer to test that hypothesis before we set foot in the 13th ourselves.
So, this is an experiment of sorts.
Yes, an experiment. Tell me, how would you go about testing the efficacy of the warding scale? Very good. I see you've been paying attention. As Vritra sent his simulacrum, so too shall we rely on a familiar to bear the brunt of any unpleasant consequences. Now, a lowly imp can navigate a fissure, no matter how narrow. Which means an arcane entity of similar stature should be able to manage the same. I hadn't wanted it to come to this, but no other familiars will do, I'm afraid.
I mislike the sound of that. What manner of fiend does she mean to summon?
From ocean rise and cloudbank form, from mountain spring and rainfall storm, from river flow and life be born. Water, water, froth and foam!
Ready your arms. I fear she's been possessed.
Oh, come now. That was adorable.
Water, water, froth and foam! Time to play!
I cannot lie! I want to die!
We're out of time! I must reseal the Void Gate.
They're coming through!
In the name of Alzidal III, I bar this door unto the Void!
Well, that was a sharp lesson in the dangers of void gates.
And what of our experiment? I'd say the results speak for themselves.
The unprotected Nixie has suffered extensive etheric corruption. As Nidana observed, it's well on its way to becoming a void scent. The one merged with the talisman, however, appears unaffected. I sense no changes to its equilibrium. Rest now, little ones.
Graha's theory was correct, then.
So it would seem. But while our second familiar was untouched by void energies, the talisman itself shows signs of degradation. It was, of course, originally designed to shield the soul from primal tempering. It stands to reason that etheric corruption of a different sort would affect it differently. We may need to modify the warding scale's design to account for the 13th's uniquely unstable ether.
You've said much of the Void's instability, but my imagination fails me. What manner of place is this broken world?
Ah, my apologies. I forget that not all of us spend our days sequestered in dusty archives.
So, think only of your mission, Vashan. Ah, but seeing as this is a different body, perhaps we should use a different name.
Nay, Vashan shall suffice. Though I may have thus grown up, I am as ever a little brother to you all.
As you say, as you say. Go then, Vashan. And best of luck.
I have something for you as well. While you were gone, Urianger paid us a visit. As you may recall, he joined us on our foray into Alzadal's legacy, in part to conduct research for the Loporrits. Research they were delighted to receive, and which has already inspired them to consider new ways to improve their own treasure vault. As a token of their gratitude, Livingway entrusted a familiar relic to Urianger. Aye, the crystal, which showed the way to Meteon. The Loporrits no longer have need of it, and thus saw fit to return it to us. Harboring the power of light, it could well aid us in our mission in the Void. And who better to bear Hydaelyn's gift than her chosen champion?
If there is nothing left to discuss, then let us depart. Our boat awaits us in Akyali.
Of course. With the warding scale in one's possession, one could conceivably survive a stay in the 13th without being warped by its energies.
that as it may, it is too late to rescue my sister. 5,000 years too late. And now countless others look to me for guidance and protection. So when I sensed intruders in the ruins, I came only to ensure that the gate remained closed. That, and to secure the treasure, of course. I wish only to forget the rest.
Though not my first choice. These familiars I conceived of as a child have the best chance of fitting through the gate. I only wish my younger self had considered a more dignified ending to the creation ritual. In any case, these two should serve us well. This one will bear a warding scale. And when they return from the 13th, we can observe how the talisman, or absence thereof, has affected the progress of the Void's corruption. If I could impose upon you to open the gate. Your Excellency?
Ah, yes, of course.
We should also be wary of void scent slipping through while we conduct our experiment. Estinian, you are to keep Nidana safe from harm.
As you say.
You had best be on your guard as well. Oh, are you volunteering to join the Nixies? I could shrink you down, you know. Let us begin, shall we? Nixies, into the void.
Water, water, breath, fire! Into shadow realms we go!
The 13th is a reflection of the source that was drowned in a flood of darkness. In Emmett Selk's own words, this tragedy was a result of the Ascians' attempts to force a rejoining. They erred in their haste, and made of that world a useless void. And what of your own experience? Will you tell us of what you observed during Noah's expedition? I can picture it now. The sunless, Stygian expanse, infested with legions of ether-starved monstrosities. A void in every sense of the word.
What you have described in such lurid detail is exactly why I hesitate to encourage you.
Worry not, great Vritra. Our journey into the 13th is but the first leg of a longer voyage. A voyage that shall lead us to other reflections, to new mysteries and discoveries. And I mean to be there every step of the way. But first, I must focus on refining the warding talisman.
Then I can begin work on constructing an artificial Atomos. Or I could if I had the relevant manuals to hand. Might I be so bold as to request access to the Satrap's family archives? Your Excellency?
Oh, yes. That can be arranged. I will speak to my officials upon our return.
We will see you back in the city then.